Hello again and welcome to the 140k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Now before we get into today's video, I'd like to say a big thank you to Camille Crockmal for sending in some awesome pictures of his combined Vestroyan Ventrilian firstborn forces fighting off against the Skitarii Vanguard. Absolutely fantastic pictures. Love this combination of units. Love those Bulgars. I'm working on some ogres of my own. Love those close combat monsters. Thank you for sending this pictures in. If anyone else has got any cool pictures they want to send in, please post them down on my Facebook page. There will be a link down in the description below. Now, today we're going to do a quick tip tactics video, guys, and we're going to be taking a look at Lord Commissars. Now, Lord Commissars are an HQ choice available to the Imperial Guard, and I tend to find that they're actually a very important one. Because if you're like me, and you like to run triple battalion, then you'll find that you've only got 3 company commanders, and you also find that with guard leadership only being leadership 7, even on Mordian it's only leadership 8, it's not really enough, and you do need to have the extra leadership. And you also might find, especially if you're going pure infantry, that you can't use tank commanders to fill out your battalions. You need an extra HQ in each one of those. So Lord Commissars fulfill a very important purpose, which they provide decent leadership to everyone around them, and they also help fill up battalions, especially when playing pure infantry. Now, the great thing about Lord Commissars is they're disposable, like so much in the Guard. But because they're not officers, because they don't issue orders. I mean, you can get one to issue orders using the Master of Command Warlord trait, and maybe that's a good idea. But generally speaking, Lord Commissars are kind of disposable. All Commissars are. You know, they do fulfill a good leadership role, but by the time a lot of your squads have been mauled and they're below half models, that leadership 9 really isn't that important anymore. And so it's actually quite important to think of your Lord Commissars as combat units. They're not tax units. They are actually very potent at fighting, and so therefore you shouldn't ever overlook that. They can be used like regular Commissars. They can be used almost as hidden power weapons, because a Lord Commissar has to take a power sword, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe Lord Commissar has to take... It comes with a bolt pistol and power sword. You can swap that power weapon out for power fist if you just look going off the codex, or if you're going off the index, you can take, you know, power axe, power maul as well. Now, like I said, the thing is if you're going to have a disposable hidden power weapon combat character, it's very important to give him the right loadout. It's 1 point for a bolt pistol. It's also 1 point for a bolter. So in theory, you should always take the bolter. But you have to understand that Lord Commissar has a very interesting, unique trait amongst Guard, which is that he hits on 2s, both in shooting and combat. Which is really, really cool, because nothing else in the Guard could do that except for, say, Pask. And he doesn't need any buffs. He could just go off and hit things on 2s, which makes him an ideal platform for a plasma pistol. If you're taking plasma pistols in your army, you should be putting them first on your Lord Commissar, because he is going to hit with it on a 2. Now, you could risk, and also because he's disposable, if you shouldn't overcharge it willy-nilly, because you don't want him to die too early. But if you get in a bit of a fix, and you're like, oh, it would be really helpful if I could just overcharge that plasma pistol, you don't want to do that on a company commander, because if he dies, you lose your orders. But you could, you know, there's less risk doing it on a Lord Commissar. You could just do it. I mean, if he dies, he dies. So what? You've not lost any orders. It was a gamble. You took it, but I'm sure you'll have plenty of other units in your army that could pick up the fact that he killed himself. But occasionally, you just find yourself in that bind where you really, really need to do 2 damage, and it's worth the risk. Now, you're never going to do that on a company commander, and you should never do that. Not really, unless it's going to absolutely save you the game. But you can freely do that on Lord Commissar and not worry about the consequences too much. So I've actually begun putting plasma pistols on my Lord Commissars, and my Anvil Industry Lord Commissar that I recently bought, he has a plasma pistol, and my 2 other ones, they've got hip holsters, and so I can say they are plasma pistols much more readily than I can say they've got bolters, you know, because it's a pistol holster obviously on the model. Now, the second thing obviously is you want to be thinking about what's this guy going to be doing in combat, because inevitably, no matter how hard you try, there is going to be close combat. Even if you face, either you're going to have to be counter-attacking assault armies, or you're going to want to be enclosing the distance on armies which hate close combat, like Tau and basic Elder Guardian units, stuff like that. Basic Elder in general don't really like combat. They do have units which are very good at it, don't get me wrong. But generally speaking, Elder are very famous for their firepower. And they have a few assault units. And Guard are more than happy to go toe-to-toe in combat with a lot of Elder units. And because of that, you want to be thinking... pardon me. You want to be thinking, what weapon do I want to be putting on this Lord Commissar? Now, I personally am a big fan of Power Fists. Now, I know that's very expensive. When you think about it, you're putting a lot of points into this Lord Commissar. It's 30 points base, and then you're putting a 5-point power sword on him, and then an 8-point plasma pistol. That's a 43-point model. But that is a 43-point model which hits on 2s at shooting, and even with a Power Fist, hits on 3s. That's actually quite good. I mean, think about it. You've got as many attacks as a Space Marine Lieutenant, but you're like half the price with the same loadout. So, and you do have an invuln save. So it's actually, these are quite cheap, nasty combat characters. And again, there's nothing wrong with you just throwing a Lord Commissar into combat. Let's say there's an enemy unit there that you really, you've shot him, you've not quite done enough damage. You want to send a couple of infantry squads in, but you don't think they're quite going to clear it. Send the Lord Commissar in with them. That Power Fist will make the difference. Now, what you really want to be thinking about is he hits on 2s, right? Great. Hits on 3s with the Power Fist. But he's only strength 3, so he is going to struggle. So you do want to be trying to give him weapons that up his strength. Power Swords are great, simply because they're very fluffy. But they do not increase his strength. Okay? Now, because I do play Rule of Cool, I often do take either Power Swords or Power Fists. It's also because I'm a bit funny about using index options. Nothing wrong with it, but I never want to get to that stage of the tournament where I have to waste my time showing someone the index option. So I just tend to take it easy and just use Power Swords and Power Fists. Now, Power Mauls are great in the current meta, because you so often come across enemies which, take a Space Marine Cat, for example, very classic example, 3+ armor save, but 4+ invuln. So, if you end up taking this guy as a duelist, you want to be taking like a Power Maul, because the AP -1 doesn't matter. It's about wounding on 3s. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, 3 attacks. You've got to precede it by that's 4 attacks. You're gonna belt the hell out of him. Now the thing is what you have to understand is the only disclaimer here is what do you expect your Lord Commissar to be doing? If you're expected to be getting into duels with people, then you probably do want to take a big strength increasing weapon, like a Power Fist or Power Maul. I like the Power Fist. If you expect to get into duel, you want to take the Power Maul simply because of the Power Fist, simply because of the D3 damage. You want to be able to get a couple of wounds through and do potentially 6 damage to an enemy character. You want to be able to do that. If you expect your Lord Commissar to be going up against chaff, then actually you probably want to stick with the Power Sword, because you're not that bothered about the extra strength. You just want to get as many attacks out there as possible at the best AP. And the reason I say you want the best AP is because, and chaff, I'm including things like tactical marines, because they are line units. When you're facing line units, they're not going to have invulnerable saves typically, and you just want to make sure that when you hit them and wound them, that they just die. But again, think about it this way: you're in the guard, right? You've got a lot of points to bandy about. What really is the difference between a 4-point Power Sword and an 8-point Power Fist? In the grand scheme of things, you can only take 3 Lord Commissars. In the grand scheme of things, it's only 12 points. Now, I do still very firmly believe in the squeeze every point policy. Very much so. But spending points, spending points where it's worth it is also something you have to remember. And that's why I have been recently After I had a game, it was against Alex Smith, one of these subs, who I had a game against him. And he had a Lord Commissar with a plasma pistol, and it really put me on to this idea because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of points, and it means that your Lord Commissar is actually a very effective suicide damage dealing unit. And he's not a tax at that point. And he only has to kill 2-3 Space Marine equivalent models. That's all he has to do. Kill 3 Space Marines over the course of a game with the Lord Commissar, and you pretty much with a plasma pistol, power fist, and you've pretty much got your points back. And how many people out there now are taking Blood Angel battalions with 3 units of scouts? You know, your Lord Commissar can and will single-handedly take on a unit of scouts and earn more than he cost. Way more. Way more. You know, you can fire a plasma pistol, kills 1. Gets into combat with them, kills 3 more. Easily done. The scouts don't get a save against him. You know, let's say he kills, you know, Lord Commissar will easily kill 3 Space with scouts in 1 turn. He only has to kill 1 more, and he's got his points back. That's nothing for a combat character. That level of damage potential, a lot of other armies would pay through the nose for it. Anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you keep your Commissars cheap? I keep my regular Commissars as cheap as possible. My Lord Commissars, I put the points into them because I personally feel that you've got to take advantage of that 2+ to hit stats. I think that's worth it. Thank you for listening. What do you guys think? And of course, I'll see you guys next time.